Test 1 2, test 1 2. This is another report coming to you from Liberation DJ's desk. One of the things I want to talk to you about in this segment of the Liberation DJ's talk is that I don't know if you're aware of this or not, especially around the country, as you may see this discussion, you may see this talk, that in the state of Iowa, where the population is, the African American population is less than 2%. Now, we lead all the other cities, Chicago, Detroit, St. Louis, California, you name it. We need all those other states in the fact that we are 2%, less than 2% of the population. We have more African Americans, men and women, incarcerated than we do the population size. It used to be some years ago that Washington, D.C., some of the other larger cities led the country in incarceration for African American men and women. All of a sudden here in the state of Iowa, where, like I said, the population is less than 2%, we lead the nation in incarceration as far as it relates to African American men and women. And what we're beginning to see here in the last, say, 5, 10, maybe 20 years, we are seeing more African American females get incarcerated. Not that the incarceration rate has stopped for African American men. It has not stopped. We see a younger African American men are getting incarcerated, but we also see an increase in African American females. One of the things that we try to do when we get a chance to talk to brothers and sisters, young, middle age, old, or whatever, we try to tell them and explain to them that, look, the prison system today as it stands in America is big business. It's big time business. Most of the large corporations and even small corporations, when the state needs something to be built, something to be made, oftentimes they go to the prisons because, first of all, it's cheap labor, no benefits, no bonuses, anything like that. It's a new form of slavery. Now, when you try to explain this to especially young African American men and women, they have not got that yet because they continue to increase in numbers as it relates to filling these prisons up. And so what you see happening is that even the smaller towns where the population may be small, but 2 or 3 things you can just about count on that's in that small town. I know some small towns in Iowa where the towns are so small they have a courthouse, they have a sheriff office, and they have a new, if it's a prison or a new jail, oftentimes it's a new prison that they built. Because you have to realize that a prison generates a lots of revenue and money for that small town, because they have to hire all the various people that will work at an institution. They have to hire those people. Then when you get individuals to come and visit that person, those people are going to spend money in that town. If it's gas, if it's lodging, if it's food, or whatever, they're going to spend it in that town. So it's a big fight that goes on in small towns where the town may be not that big as far as population size, but the prison, once one is built in a small town, it generates lots of fun. So what we have tried to say to our African American brothers and sisters is that, look, you are helping these people make the money. You're helping them make the money. For instance, here in the state of Iowa, they go to the prisons. They have the prisoners to make license plates and furniture. Those are two items that they make here in the state of Iowa. Now, you can take other states where it may be something different. Washington, D.C. may be different category. Detroit may be a different category. Kansas City may be a different category. California may be a different category. But each state has something that the inmates, that the prisoners can make to bring in a profit to that particular city. And so once again, this is why we see oftentimes in the smaller towns there's a bargaining that goes on to build prisons now in small towns. And it's such a big business now that everybody's getting some of the action. Unfortunately, African-American brothers and sisters have not got a grip on this thing yet to say that, look, the more people that are incarcerated and get locked up, they're counting on the more profit and money they can make for a particular state. And so what you see happening throughout the country, here in the U.S., you see prisons now have been for quite some time. It's now big business. And our young African-American men and women continue to fill the prisons up. It's almost like a badge of honor that they seem like they enjoy going. But all is going on, all is happening. You are helping the people in your demise. You're helping them incarcerate you. And in some states, we have seen where they have reinstituted the chain gang. Where you see this. This used to be something that was like you may see in a movie, something that went on like in the 20s and the 30s and the 40s. But now all of a sudden, in some of the states, you see chain gangs where you see them out working. If it's on the highways, if it's on the roads, various places you may see those individuals out working. Those are considered to be the chain gang, and you see this happening. So we're trying to send this message out to all of the African American brothers and sisters and young people in general that may see this or may check this out, that you are helping whatever state you may be in. You are helping these people continue to make money and make a profit off of your back. That's what it is. And even though you may not look at this as being a form of slavery, in a sense, that's what it is. It's a form of slavery. Maybe you don't necessarily see it that way because it's not showing the shackles and the chains and everything like back in the day. But in reality, it is a form of slavery because right now, if you go to any major city you want to go to, just pick out a city and go to it. I would say that the majority of inmates that are in the institutions in any city you pick out in the U.S. are African American men and women, probably some Hispanics, some other maybe poor whites, but the large majority of those people incarcerated are African American men and women. And I'm saying we're seeing the age is younger. We're starting young now, 13, 14, 15, 16 years old. And once again, we want to bring you this special report from the Liberation DJ's desk. We do these segments. My experience comes from being a talk show host for 20-some years on one of the greatest stations in the nations that we had here in Des Moines, Iowa, KUCB. We had it for 20-some years. We was on 24 hours. We had all volunteers, and we thank all those volunteers who volunteered all their tireless efforts and work. We thank all of those people who were involved in KUCB because we made history here in the state of Iowa and throughout the country. There wasn't too many stations that was like KUCB. I still don't see that many stations today, even as we speak, like KUCB. I'm not talking about 24-hour music. I'm not talking about 24-hour, the kind of crazy music that's played. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a format that kind of fits